Hello, strangers and rangers. Welcome back to another chapter of Draw Me After You, Let Us Run. We are going to be reading chapter 5 today, and we're just going to jump right in. Padfoot is gone by the time Harry wakes. The dream with Voldemort is a distant memory, the way that it always is. He vaguely remembers angry red eyes and hissed threats. The fire at the camp is out, but his wards are strong. He rolls out of his cot and packs up his things, humming softly to himself all the while. Puts away his books and his clothes, collapses his tent, tucks everything away. It is a routine, easy to keep as long as he follows the rules. Keep moving, don't stop. Even when he's been separated from Sirius, which has happened more and more often as time has gone, he abides these rules they set when they first began this chase. Harry is not to stay in one place too long. He is to move as frequently as he possibly can. He cannot let Voldemort catch him. Once he's packed mokeskin pouch around his neck and tucked into his coat, he digs into his shirt for the medallion he keeps hanging there, goblin-made and quite tricky, and something he and Sirius have been using for a while, a gift from Bill Weasley. He thumbs over the engraving, tapping his wand to the center until the small globe at the center rotates to where he's aiming, and steps through his wards as he dispels them with a whisper. It wouldn't do to have any muggles stumble across an invisible, impenetrable wall while hiking through the woods. Oh my. As a small pinprick of light glows on the globe, his next location, far from the Albanian woods and far from Voldemort's increasingly close grasp, Harry tucks his wand away. The sphere at the center of the medallion starts spinning as he adjusts the strap of his pack, and he feels the wind catch his hair. He hears the sound of a twig snap. He twists just in time to see Voldemort's red eyes. Just in time for Voldemort to slip an arm around his waist and hitch a ride, the familiar and disorienting sensation of a pull behind his navel, sweeping them both away. Scene break. The first time Lord Voldemort almost catches Harry Potter, it is August 1st. He is just 16 years old, has been running with Sirius for 7 months, and Sirius decides that they can squeeze in a little bit of fun. Harry should honestly know better by now than to trust that when Sirius says fun, it only means trouble for Harry. Scene break. They've been moving around the English countryside for months. They try to stay away from the public, the people, except for food and very occasionally for rest. Muggle B&Bs for a proper shower and bed, occasionally only for a smattering of hours, and occasionally through the evening. Small markets they can walk through, but buy what they need and then keep walking. Harry can't use magic, not with the trace still on him, and Sirius tends to vacillate between trotting along as his faithful dog and guiding him as his intrepid godfather. Sirius has a bag full of books that Remus gave him to use to teach Harry as much as he can while on the road, and Harry has never been strong in the magical theory behind dark arts, charms, potions, and transfiguration, but he certainly has a strong handle on it now. There's not much else to do, after all. They are simply running, hiding, keeping their noses clean, checking the papers for all that they can for any hint of terror that screams dark magic. There have been a couple of close calls, of course, moments when Harry was certain that Death Eaters would snatch them both up and it would all be over, but so far there has not been much. Not much except, of course, for the dreams. Dreams that, at first, have them moving the moment Harry starts thrashing. Sirius stays up while Harry sleeps, and the moment Voldemort seeks his mind and the location they are in within it, Sirius wakes him and they are gone again. Then, on a day when they hide themselves on the shores of Scotland, Sirius leaves for just a while, just long enough to pop back to London and raid the Black Library. When he returns, it is with a book. Magic of the Mind, it reads, and from that night on, occlumency is something that they both begin learning. Until, when Voldemort presses at his mind, Harry can simply press back. Until, when Voldemort tugs on Harry's dreams, he ends up tumbling into a mind that is not his own. They leave Harry tired but content, knowing that Voldemort cannot reach into his head to pluck out where they're hiding, no matter how much he threatens and hisses at Harry through the night, usually in the garish ballroom of some manor Harry does not know, is a relief. Exhausting, certainly, but a relief. The point is, they've been lucky. Incredibly lucky. So when Sirius slings his arm around Harry's shoulders and says, "You're 16 now. Want to go to a pub?" All Harry can do is smile and nod. They're in Ireland at the time. Harry keeps thinking he might run into Seamus or something, but they keep to the hills and the cliffs and the woods. They don't see many people. Mostly, actually, they see an awful lot of sheep. It's a bit overwhelming when Sirius drags him into the pub that afternoon, the day after he turned 16, and shoves a beer into his hand with a wink. He doesn't know what kind of party is going on, but there is one. There's singing and there's dancing, and Harry is so carried away by it that he doesn't even notice the man that stares at him for too long before leaving. Sirius is pulled onto the crowded dance floor, more a crudely put together clearing made by tables and chairs pushed aside by some woman with hair as red as his mother's, and Harry is so carried away that he doesn't notice the person that settles next to him at the bar. Not until there is a wand at his side and a hand on his wrist. Not until there is a mouth at his ear, voice low and hauntingly familiar, as awareness pulses in the scar drawn over his forehead. You are a very hard person to find, Harry Potter. Harry's breath catches and he goes incredibly still. The fingers tighten painfully over his wrist until he winces. Now you're going to come outside with me and give me what I came for, Voldemort whispers. For a moment, Harry fully believes that. Believes that Voldemort will kill everyone in this pub if he does not move right this instant and follow him outside. But Voldemort is not striking down everyone in this pub. He's not burning it to the ground the way Harry expected he would with any Muggle establishment, and Harry glances over, unable to help himself, and finds Tom Riddle's high cheekbones and dark hair and slate-gray eyes staring back at him. He's stunning, just as tall and as handsome as he was when Harry first saw him in the memory of a book so many years ago. A bit older, perhaps, but no less breathtaking. Harry can, at the very least, admit that he prefers this face over the usual gleam of red eyes and serpent skin. When Harry's lips part, Voldemort catches the sight of it, and his grip tightens on Harry's wrist until his bones grind. Do not call out, Voldemort warns. Do not call attention to yourself. Come with me. Harry's eyes narrow behind his glasses, because Voldemort should be firing spells and slaughtering Muggles. He should be, but he isn't, and it takes a moment for Harry to realize why. Voldemort doesn't know who all Harry knows in this pub, doesn't know if perhaps he is friends with anyone here, or everyone here, and he can't risk it. An accidental oath is still an oath, after all, and Voldemort did swear not to bring harm to Harry's friends or their families until Harry handed the prophecy over. Harry certainly hasn't done that. With a tilt of his chin, Harry raises his beer. Voldemort jabs his wand into Harry's side, but it is of no use at all. I love everyone in this pub, Harry declares at a shout. The cheers and jeers in reply brings a smile to Harry's face. Smug, delighted. Voldemort sneers down at him. Harry's scar aches a bit, but he bites down the wince. I should curse you where you stand, Voldemort hisses. I could kill you right now. Ah, but would you be able to find where I hid the prophecy? Voldemort opens his mouth, probably to follow through with the threats he's been whispering in his dreams for months, and the one he placed just now, and Harry braces for the pain of it, but it does not come. Harry? Sirius is standing there, brow up and fingers twitching, guarded. He's glancing between Harry and the man holding him so close, and Harry realizes that Sirius doesn't know. You all right, Pop? Sirius asks. Voldemort's grip eases somewhat. He offers Sirius a charming smile, but does not let Harry go. Pardon me, Voldemort says, all sleaze and ease, thumb dragging over Harry's arm like he's trying to flirt with him, and not a second away from disemboweling him, and Harry's face floods with color. I was just offering to buy Harry here a drink. Sirius's brows fly up, a delighted grin stretching over his face, and Harry nearly starts shaking his head emphatically no, when Voldemort's wand prods at his ribs again. A drink, huh? Sirius gives Voldemort a quick look, gaze skimming down and then right back up, before darting to Harry's. Haven't had too many yet. You do love the whole pub, after all. Harry wants the earth to open up and swallow him whole. He downs the rest of his beer instead and slams the glass onto the counter. Nope, Harry says. All empty. Need a refill. And since Tom has so kindly offered... Harry bats his eyes up at Voldemort, smile sickeningly sweet, and Voldemort returns it. Of course, he says. Harry thinks he's the only one that hears the strain of it as he turns toward the bar to flag down the barkeep, because Sirius claps Harry on the shoulder, leans in, and mutters, "Don't do anything I wouldn't, pup." And then he's off, back toward the dance floor, and for once, Harry believes every derisive insult Snape has thrown his godfather's way. He stares after him, wide-eyed and still subtly at one point, and wants to hurl his empty beer stein at Sirius's head. The second they're alone again, Voldemort turns to him. He's annoyed, Harry can tell, and not just from the pinch of his rather aristocratic face. He can feel it throbbing under his skin, and Harry spitefully thinks, good. Your companion is going to get you killed, Voldemort says, almost casually, and Harry lets out a slow breath. If he wants to rile Harry up, it's working. If he wants to play that way, Harry will play right back. Yes, well, at least he's not going to get himself killed, Harry says, smile sharp when he offers it. At least, not by you or your Death Eaters. Voldemort's jaw clenches, and Harry would be lying if he said that it wasn't an arresting sight. The Dark Lord Voldemort biting back his anger while wearing such a pretty face, sliding Harry an actual beer when it is set on the bar top, and plastering on a smile. Tricky little oaf you weaved, Voldemort admits between the brittle smile of his white teeth. I have to admit I was impressed. It was very Slytherin of you. The hat did offer, Harry says, all too happy to keep Voldemort off his footing, to keep him guessing and unsteady until Harry can get away. He doesn't touch his drink. Voldemort's brow raises. Did it? It was rather insistent, Harry says. I told it no. That's not how the hat works. Harry barks at a laugh. Yes, actually, it very much is. Regardless, Voldemort hisses, leaning in, and Harry takes a careful step back. How about a new oath? How about no? Voldemort's eyes catch the light, taking on an eerily familiar red hue. How about I just take what I want, then? And the thing is, Harry knows that he will, that he very well could, that there was no part of the oath that promised Harry's safety. Honestly, Harry's surprised that Voldemort didn't whisk him away and torture him until he gave the prophecy up already, or that he hasn't just struck him down where he stands. Perhaps Harry thinks it's part of the oath. He can't kill Harry just to get himself out of it, but Harry doesn't know for sure, and he's certainly not going to stick around taking that chance. With a wild idea already stirring up in his head, Harry takes the drink Voldemort brought for him Harry takes the drink Voldemort bought for him in hand. Voldemort catches the movement, eyes darting to his hand, but Harry is already pressing the other to his chest, face twisting in offense and backing up one step, then another. Keep your hands to yourself, you old pervert, Harry snaps, half shouting, and then he slings his full pint into Voldemort's face without a single lick of remorse. No means no. And then, before Voldemort can get the idea in his head to strike Harry down where he stands, Harry weaves himself into the mess of the crowded pub. You can hear Voldemort spitting his name like a curse, and even as a lance of pain ricochets through his skull, Harry can't help but smile as he finds Sirius spinning a girl on the dance floor. He grabs him by the scruff of his shirt, pulls, and starts running and shoving through the crowd the second that Sirius realizes something has happened and starts moving with him. Sirius's hand catches his arm, then his hand, and then he is clearing the way with a subtle flick of his wand and dragging Harry out the door. What's going on, pup? Long story, Harry says. Get us out of here. Sirius doesn't argue, knows better not to, or trusts Harry enough not to. He's not sure. Either way, he barely catches sight of Voldemort bursting out the door before Sirius is squeezing Harry's hand tight and apparating them away. Scene break. The second time Lord Voldemort nearly catches Harry Potter, it is October 31st. He is still 16. He is still constantly on the move, Sirius at his side. He is still waiting for the other shoe to drop. It is obvious coming here on this day. Obvious and utterly necessary. Scene break. The headstones are nice. Polished. Harry's never seen their graves before. 15 years. It has been 15 years since Harry has been here, the place he was born, the town where his parents died. He doesn't remember any of it. Not any of the streets, not the church next to the graveyard, not the broken down house that Sirius apparated them to in the first place. The moment the sun started to settle beyond the horizon, the place where his parents died on the 15th anniversary of their deaths. James and Lily Potter's graves, nothing but deadened grass and pretty stones. Nothing inside of Harry, something inside of Harry aches terribly. It is not the same kind of ache that Sirius suffers, a ways away, leaning against a different headstone with his hands in his pockets and his face turned away. Sirius feels the loss of something real, something he'd had, held, and lost the grip of. Harrius feels the loss of potential, of all the could have and would have beens that came with their deaths on that night so long ago. Of two parents he'll never have and never know, of a happy childhood without the harsh lessons of life he had to learn early in order to survive. That's all he's done, he thinks, as he stares down at Lily Potter's grave. All he's done is survive. Since the night she gave her life for his own, all Harry has been able to do is survive. He lets himself cry for that, for the loss of a future that isn't his, for people he never knew. Quiet and steady, tears burning hot against a face cooled by an autumn evening. He lets himself cry for the loss of something he never even had. The crack of apparition isn't even enough to move him. Sirius is at his side in an instant, his wand drawn, his face severe, anger bubbling up in that same way it did so many years ago, only stilled and quieted by Harry's hand on his arm, gripping tight, like it is the only thing holding him to this place. Sentiment. Voldemort hisses, and Harry's not sure it's in English until Sirius bristles. You are surrounded, Harry Potter. Give me the prophecy, and I shall show mercy. There's a prickling against Harry's skin. He closes his eyes against the sensation and against more tears, and Sirius sucks in a sharp breath. They've put up wards, pup, Sirius says, voice low, reaching out to clutch at Harry's sweater. It's true. Harry can feel them. Figures he knows what they're... Figures he knows what they're for. Okay, sorry, I'm so sorry. Figures he knows what they're for, keeping Sirius from apparating them away, and wonders how long one of Voldemort's Death Eaters camped out here to see if he would come. To see if Harry really was foolish and sentimental enough to make such an obvious decision now that he wasn't trapped at Hogwarts on this dreaded day. We're gonna have to fight our way out of here, Sirius breathes, agitated and tight like a spring. You'll stay behind me. Can't hurt me, right? Fancy oath and all that? Harry hums, absent and tired, eyes still closed and hands still wrapped over Sirius's arm. He knows Voldemort is standing somewhere behind him, can feel his gaze, can feel the rising irritation that is slowly bleeding into his own, can feel an underlying smug satisfaction that makes Harry want to spit. Voldemort clicks his tongue. Come now, Harry. I may not be able to hurt you to get what I want. Ah, so that is part of their oath. But I can certainly keep you here. You have no right, Harry says, voice shaking, and Sirius starts at the sound of it, cracking like a whip in the night. But Harry pays no mind as he stares down at their graves. You have no right to be here, and you know it. There's another spike of emotion, something Harry can't quite name, but the pain along his scalp is enough to have him turning around to meet Voldemort's stare. Steady. Red. The monster instead of the man. But Harry knows. He knows what this monster can feel, knows that the pulse that comes along the thread between them is something like shock, perhaps at the state of Harry staring hard at him with tears rolling down his face, or perhaps at what Voldemort can feel of Harry, the grief and the relentless anger that is only rivaled by Voldemort's own. And he sees the moment that Voldemort becomes far less smug and far more apprehensive. Stubborn, Voldemort notes, tone dry, like he's trying to regain his footing, and Harry will not have it. Give me the prophecy, boy, and... No, Harry snarls, stepping forward, ignoring the way Sirius clutches at his sweater to keep him a good distance from Voldemort, lest he be whisked away. Not here, not now. You have no right! The ground beneath their feet rumbles. Later, Harry will be shocked to realize it's because of him. That after months of bottling most of his magic up, the ground quakes beneath their feet because of Harry's rage. Voldemort stares at him like he's not quite sure what to make of him. Long fingers toy with the bleached white of his wand, but he otherwise does not move. His eyes narrow, red like blood spilled across fresh snow, but Harry feels no anger from him. Feels only his own, pulsing and building up in his chest, threatening to boil over and ravage everything. Voldemort takes one slow step forward, bare feet on dead grass. Sirius tries to pull Harry back. You think, Voldemort breathes low with warning, that you have the right to tell me what I can do. Harry's own wand is in his hand faster than he can think to have it there, raised and pointed at Voldemort's chest, Harry's own magic crackling like a living creature in the air. He can feel it vibrating in his teeth. Fuck the prophecy. Fuck the oath. Fuck you, Harry sneers. You'll leave, or I will tear you apart. You think you can? Right now? Harry feels his face shift, a rictus of mockery. Yes. And unless you want to risk breaking the oath trying to stop me, you will leave. You would lose your magic, Voldemort tells him, matter of fact, and it makes sense knowing that. Makes the fact that Harry survived their last encounter unscathed make sense. Possibly your life. Harry's grip twists that much tighter on his wand. He can feel something He can feel something oppressive weigh them all down, can feel the hair on his arms, on his head, on the back of his neck stand on end, can feel a static in the air. Does it look like I care? Harry may have set this path. Sorry. Harry may have set himself on this path, the one of trying to find a way to fix Voldemort, but he draws the line here. Here, where Voldemort took everything from him. Harry refuses to let Voldemort do this here. Voldemort holds his gaze for a long time, stares at him, searches over him. For what, Harry does not know. Then he raises one of those long, pale hands and waves, and Harry feels the wards come down. Harry does not lower his wand. Voldemort does not drop his gaze. Black? Voldemort hisses, not once looking away from Harry, even as Sirius finally moves, pulling Harry back and bringing himself in front of him, like he might fend off Voldemort's eyes. You would do well to get your ward, a wand he can practice with. Suppressing that much magic will prove to be disastrous. Harry doesn't know what that could mean. Sirius's jaw clenches so tight Harry thinks he might crack a molar. Hermione's parents would have a field day. Harry thinks vaguely he might be in some kind of emotional shock. Noted, Sirius spits. Now you heard my godson. Leave. Unlike him, I have no oath holding me back. Voldemort doesn't even look at him. Those red eyes are for Harry and Harry alone. Next time, Harry Potter, he says, and Harry twitches as he switches into Parseltongue without a hitch. I will not show you mercy. Harry's chin tilts up, defiance in every bone of his body, the language of snakes lilting like water over his own tongue. When have you ever? Voldemort's mouth twitches into something like a smile. He dips his head, a concession. Until next time. And then he's gone. The pops of distant apparition are the only indication that he and Sirius are finally alone. Scene break. And I'm actually going to do a video break here. I will come back and do the rest. I actually may end up breaking this into 3 parts. It's a very long chapter. That whole section was probably at least 3,000 to 5,000 words. I think that this whole chapter alone is like 14,000 words. It's stupid. It's a very chunky chapter. So yeah, we're going to break her up. If you would like to read the rest of the chapter yourself, links are down in the description below. If you would like to support me on Patreon, links are down in the description below. I'm very tired today. But yeah, I will get this out. All of chapter 5 will be available to the public, so that won't be a problem if you don't want to become a patron. But if in the future you would like to get chapters read to you beyond chapter 5, consider becoming a patron because you will only probably have access to that through there for a hot minute, if not forever. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for joining me. I'm working on the audio where it kind of clicks with this current microphone, but anyway, thank you. Bye bye.